Hello, welcome to Critical Moves in Telesur, the fourth industrial revolution, the technological revolution. Expressions that wander around social media today. What is this about? What is the essence of this? And what's its geopolitical impact if it's enforced? We begin our critical move. Let's begin by listening to the statements of the Globalization Forum on the age of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It took place last year on January 22nd to 25th. If we look at all the threats that we describe in our report on globalization, we see that there is a huge need to keep moving forward. We're in the crossroads of history and many different things. For example, in regards to environment, we have 12 years to clean our house, to say it some way. We are trying to say that we need globalization, but we need to improve the way to achieve globalization in a proper way. We see that globalization eliminated hundreds of thousands of people from poverty, but many other people were left behind. So now we can't tolerate people to be left behind. We need to develop a new inclusive globalization.
Hundreds of millions of people of poverty.
If you look at digital, it is now the...
If we look at the digital, every market depends on it. It's not about social media, but we also need digital for medicine, for finance, for manufacturing. So what do we do with the data linked to this? How do we make new propositions to improve the life of the people in this new digital world? In our research, we recognize that maybe there will be a lot of new jobs and better jobs. So we asked people to not to fear the robots, but to accept the change.
The governments must also make changes. They cannot do, a single organization cannot do it. It must be done in joint manner. If you see what happened in the third revolution, when we industrialized the world, what happened? We created these systems of public schools that we have them up until now. It must be said that Germany was the first government to have it as the government agenda. Let's see the fourth industrial revolution. Fourth industrial revolution. The concept was created by the Klaus Schwab in the 2016 Economic World Forum. It is the fusion of technologies that are erasing the line between the physical, digital, and biological. The term also includes speed, the reach, and the impact of the systems. The fourth revolution has a strong technological base. It includes artificial intelligence, blockchains, quantum computing, nanotechnology, robotic, Internet of the Things, IoT, 3D impressions, big data, self-sufficient cars, and storage of materials. All of this make more possibilities of thousands of millions of people connected by mobile devices with a capacity of processing, storage, and access to knowledge that has no limits. Therefore, the fourth revolution has automation, digitalization of social work, education, commercial, and we will optimize time and resources. The Economic World Forum published on their website the following article saying, According to the manifest of Davos 2020, the purpose of the companies is to collaborate with all of their shareholders in having more value. While creating all of this, they must fulfill all of the necessity of all of their suppliers and society as a whole. The best understanding of the converging interest is having a common commitment to reinforce the prosperity. A company is fulfilling with the needs when they are offering a solution to their needs. They consider their associates as part of as associates, and they guarantee a sure and ethical status. It also is it also guarantees the well-being of the environment. It also guarantees the shareholders an increase of their intake. A company is more than just something that creates money. It also has a social system that is part of. The responsibility of the companies demand that they have basic abilities.
Let's
see some of the websites. For example, what does BBC World say? This is October 12 of 2016. This is the date related to the time when the context was presented in the Davos. The fourth revolution, and why should it concern us? Let's go to Revolution What For? This is a subtitle, and it says, it's precisely the most advanced governments that the experts say that have, what are the emerging economies to have more benefit? However, the fourth revolution will only be able to benefit those who are able to adapt. Therefore, those who do not adapt will not be able to survive. If this happens at all of speed, as it will happen, the effect might be devastating than the one that the third revolution created. In this game, there are always losers, and one of the form of inequality is there is a risk, because there might be an elite that might see a justification. This is said by Elizabeth Garby, an investigator of the School for the Future from the University of Arizona. On one behalf, those who do not believe that there's going to be a fourth revolution, it is true that there are many changes and very profound, but the concept that was first used in 1940, the document of Harvard Review called The Last Opportunity of United States, says that it's going to be, that there might be a dark future for the United States, and the United States might not be up to speed. This is also reflected in the article of BBC World. But I want to stay here for some minutes with this graphic that very well explains what do we understand by IoT, Internet of Things. This is a term that is being used in the past times, and what does it mean? Well, here's the graphic description of it. You have Internet is in everything. Internet can manage everything. Through Internet, everything circulates. Everything, cars, transportation, heavy transportation, machinery, electronic arms, iPads, every type of device, TVs, your laptop, the time that not only tells you what time it is and gives you an alarm, but it also it tells you what the weather is like, where you are at, what are the nearby supermarkets, or anything that you're looking for. All of the ads We also have this selling points between, among other things. And everything crosses through internet, the Internet of Things. That is why I wanted to show you this graphic description. Among others that are illustrated here, and this is what we understand as the Fourth Revolution. We saw Angela Merkel, whose country adopted as part of the government agenda the topic of the Fourth Revolution. Then I also want to speak about this poll that is very revealing. What do the entrepreneurs say? 70% of the entrepreneurs have a positive expectation about the fourth technological revolution. 85% think that's going to be beneficial. 64% are willing to take the risk to innovate, and 17% are fear the negative impacts on the workers. This is really low concerning the interest of the workers. iProp is another website that we consulted. What does it bring? That was of January 7 of 2020. It says the fifth revolution is coming. What will be the technologies that will be transformed? It will be called sustainable intelligence. And it will be developed in three phases. First, everything that's computers and devices, they will have a level that will be almost just like the human brain. The artificial intelligence that will be used by the devices will innovate itself. And the other phase, by 2040, the computers will be totally capable of improving themselves without human intervention. This is not a science fiction movie. This is based on investigation. This is why I recommend that you read and analyze the article called The Fourth Technological Revolution is Not Our Revolution, which is in Resumen Latinoamericano of October 24 of 2017. I'm going to just extract some part. The 2.4 will be highly technological, and that's why there will be many jobs will be lost, and only the countries that will be able to transform themselves with audacity will be able to take advantage of a growth that will not be available to most of the population. This could be a maneuver to put people at ease while other mechanisms are being put in place, and this will, of course, they're going to ensure to maintain the benefits to the elite. In fact, the Fourth Revolution will respond to the need of this oligarchy to come together when they see that there's a decline of their growth just based on their industries. And what they want is to maintain the control, limited control. Thus, they will maintain control by having a more efficient administration of their productivity, and it would make it easier for the production while eliminating the power of the working power that will be substituted by robots, and it will strengthen the control over the people by incorporating the use of new technologies. This is the state of the world, and in this world, we want you to participate with us. Think about this fourth revolution, and let's discuss it on the website. Here we have our question on Twitter. The fourth revolution, the fourth technological revolution, implies the internalization and the progressive substitution of the work of the workers. Who wins and who loses if we apply this work ethic? Participate. We'll be right back. Let's make a brief timeline about this revolutions of technology that we have seen. In the past 2 decades, there have been revolutions, industrial revolutions, that have passed from one to another, has been the base of the dynamism and the ways to transport merchandise and raw materials, as well as the use of technology. The first revolution was carried out in the UK ever since 1786, and it implied dramatic differences with the non-use of workers. There was a profound change that affected all of the structures of society in the technological order, cultural and economic, as well as creating lots of migration from the fields to the mainland. Then the second one came in UK once again, and Europe, the United States and Japan. Electricity is developed, the electric light bulb is developed, the car, and many industries gave way to manufacturing series, making the internalizing of commerce are basically the main characteristics of the second one. The third one, that is called of the intelligent element, came about in the last 30 years of the last century. It is with cybernetic computers that are personalized, automation of the industrialization. This was a revolution that was totally superior of all of the ones before. The expansion of renewable energy, the expansion of storage of energy, as well as forms of transportation that are more efficient and less contaminating. As a product of all of these revolutions, we can see that the capacity has increased, but there's also have been negative impacts, like the migration to the cities, that have caused more density in the urban sectors, and this along with more poverty, contamination, and social exclusion.
Comienza entonces nuestro análisis. Desde Chile nos acompaña Iván Vuskovic.
And now we have Iván Vuskovic. He's a professor of Valparaiso University. And from Venezuela, we have Miguel Jaimes. He's an expert in geopolitics. We have them both on telephone, and I would like to greet you on behalf of Critical Moves. I want to start with Iván. How are you? Thank you for being with us.
Muchas gracias. Igualmente la felicitación en nombre de nuestro equipo. Iván, tenemos frente nuestro un paquete de
we have
posibilidades,
possibilities,
un paquete, digamos, de propuestas
that there are proposals that are offered by this Economic World Forum in Davos,
llamado Cuarta Revolución
that is called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. But in this package, not everything convinces. It's very well described. It looks very nice. It looks that it's going to be for success, for advance, for development. We can even speak of a leap in terms of the three previous revolutions. But what about the human being? I think that we will have improvements in the methods of production with a major use of technology, of computer use, but I don't think that the relations of dependency that still exists between in the capitalist system. I think that these are going to think that the workers are going to have a better quality of life. I don't think this is going to change. Therefore, maybe the conditions can improve. The productivity will have a quantic leap. But our problem is in the property of the means of productions that are going to determine the advance or not. And if there's an advance, will there be an improvement And this improvement, will it imply that there are going to be more products distributed in an equal way to society? And to think that this revolution will change the world or change who dominates the world, I don't think that's going to happen. That's just an illusion that they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell us. But there are always going to be owners and those who work for the owners. Therefore, while this relationship keeps on being that some take the main part of the cake and the others just a small part, things are not going to change. Ivan, please stay with us. We're going to talk with Miguel Jaimes from Venezuela. He's a doctor in science, and we would like to talk to you. Hi, Ray. Thank you for having me with us. We're reflecting about the fourth technological revolution. Ivan says that things are not going to change much in terms of who is the owner and who works for those owners.
En la política laboral basada en la filosofía capitalista del trabajo. En eso me baso,
this is my premise to pose this question. Who says that the fourth revolution is happening and to benefit who?
La industria capitalista.
Well, the capitalist industries and these societies that are based on the inequality. And of course, there's a huge gap. What is worrisome about this new generation of technology is the change of type of model of society, but not necessarily in favor of the population. But these changes have boosted that the lower levels are going to be more oppressed, and the higher ones are going to have more ways of oppression. And especially because this new element has a new risky element, which is the war, the confrontation, the weapons. At the beginning of the century, there are more countries involved in wars and interventions, in civil wars, that has gone even over the number of countries that participate in World War II. So the opportunities for the population, now there's going to be an effort from the education standpoint, then to the professional standpoint, to the use of the labor. That is, this offers almost nothing of the generation of new jobs. We're already 7.8 billion population, and it's apparently we're going to go over 9 billion. And this is a world that is much more populated, more globalized, and with less opportunities to the population. Thank you, Miguel. I would like to ask you to stay with us up until the end of the analysis on the phone. Let's go back to Ivan Boscovich. He is connected with us from Chile. I'm also wondering about these alleged things that might happen with this fourth revolution. For example, there's going to be less physical presence of the workers by substituting them. But what happened in the previous technological revolutions? And why do we need this fourth revolution? Well, I think that to suppose something like this is to robotize all of the processes, all of the productive ones and of the service. But let's begin from the part that there are processes that cannot be robotized. For example, health system, education system.
una serie de otros servicios como
many
lo de
other
la alimentación.
processes like
Usted podrá algunas etapas
food.
automatizarlas, pero
There
eso
are
es
parts that, of
imposible.
course, can
Y
be
además están
robotized,
todos los
but
trabajadores
there
que
is also all of
tienen
the
que
workers that have to
diseñar y construir los robots. Entonces, suponer que el
make and
trabajo
teach the
manual
robots.
se
So
acaba es
if the
un
if the
error. Yo
handwork
creo que este va
is
a
over,
existir
it's going to be a
siempre
mistake. I
porque
think it's
está
always
a la
going to
base
exist
de la configuración de un
because it's
desarrollo
at the
posterior.
base of
La
the
pregunta que
revolution.
se hace es,
Oh,
¿por
what
qué
is
hubo
being
que hacer
asked
esto?
is,
Porque efectivamente
why can we do
los
this?
trabajos
Well,
extenuantes
in fact, because all of the
implican un
hardship
mayor
works
gasto y
are
la comunidad,
imply
la
much more
gente, el
expenses,
pueblo,
and
como
people
usted quiera llamarlo, ha tomado conciencia
have
que
are more
esto
aware
no puede ser que unos tengan que trabajar tanto
that it's not
y
possible that some
desgastarse
have to
tan
work so hard
bruscamente para que otros
so
puedan
others
tomarse aquello.
can
Entonces,
just use
hay
what
una
they
relación
produce.
que va
So
obligado
there is
a
a
ese
relationship that
incremento.
has obligated to
Fíjese
this
usted que
increase.
la robotización en algunos casos
For
puede
example, the
abaratar los
robotization
costos
may
de determinados bienes y
decrease
servicios,
the cost
pero
of some
también se puede dar el caso que
services
los
and products,
encarezca.
but it
Va a
could also
depender
make them
del
increase
nivel
price.
de desarrollo de cada
It will
una de las
depend
sociedades de
on
las
the
que estamos
levels of
hablando.
technologies of the processes.
No es un tópico
So
resuelto de
it's
una
not
vez
a
para
solved
siempre.
topic once and for
Este es
all.
un tema que va a tener más
This is a
repercusión.
topic that will have more repercussions.
Sí me decía, ¿va a tener más repercusión?
Claro, le digo, esto va a tener más repercusión.
This will have more
porque no es
repercussions
una cosa
because
que esté
it's
resuelta
not
de una
something
vez y
that
para
is solved
siempre.
once and for all.
Siempre se irán mejorando
Uh,
las condiciones de producción.
The conditions of
Siempre.
productions will always
Porque
improve.
lo que se busca es que
So
efectivamente
what we
el
try to seek
trabajo
for is that the
sea
work
menos extenuante,
be less
sea menos
hard, be less
recargado para el trabajador, porque
be
finalmente es
less
él que
difficult for the
produce,
worker because
y es
at
el
the
que echa a
end
andar
it's
las
he who
máquinas, que prende
produces.
las máquinas y que tiene que dar la energía para que tengamos luz, para que funcione
And
todo
it's a
estos robots
person
que
who has to
finalmente
work in the
son
production of
eléctricos,
electricity, of
etcétera.
everything.
Suponer que
It's
la
somebody
mano
who
de
has to turn
trabajo
on the
manual
machine
se
and
va a
control the
acabar.
machine. So to
Creo
think
que
that the workers
es
are
muy difícil que
that the
aquello
workers'
ocurra,
work is not
dado la
gonna
naturaleza
be needed.
de
I
las
don't think
cosas
it's
que
gonna
están
happen.
pasando hoy día en la sociedad.
Gracias, Iván.
Thank
Quédese
you,
con
Iván.
nosotros.
Please stay with
Miguel,
us. Miguel,
entrando un poco en la polémica,
going a
¿cree
bit more
usted
into
que
the
realmente la
discussion, do
mano
you really
humana
think
siempre va
that
a
the
estar
human
presente porque
hand
hay
will always be
actividades
present because
en
there are
que el
activities
hombre,
where
es
man
necesario
is
mantenerse?
necessary?
Porque, por ejemplo, estábamos
For
viendo
example,
imágenes
we
ahí de
were
una
seeing
fábrica
images
donde lo
of
único que
a
veíamos
factory where the
eran
only
brazos
thing we saw
mecánicos.
were
Por
electric
ejemplo, aquí yo
arms.
estoy
For example,
rememorando un
I am
video
recalling
que
here a
fue
video
publicado
that was
meses
published
atrás
some
y
months
habla
ago,
de
and it
la
speaks
presencia de un
about the
presentador de
presence
noticias,
of
por ejemplo,
a
que es
news
robotizado.
anchor
A ver
who's
si me
a
ayudan por acá
robot.
para
Let's
ver
see if
unas
we can see
imágenes.
this image.
Está aquí. Dice, este es mi
He's
primer
right
día
here.
en la
It
agencia
says,
Xinhua. Mi
this is
voz y
my
mi
first
apariencia se
day in
basan
the
en un
Xinhua
presentador
agency.
real de Xinhua.
Apparently, my
El desarrollo
image
de la
is
industria de los
real.
medios exige una innovación continua
The
y una
development of
profunda
the industry
integración con las
demands that
avanzadas
there be
tecnologías
a development,
internacionales. Trabajaré
and I will
incansablemente.
work
No se va a
insatiably.
cansar, evidentemente.
Well, he's never going to
Llegarán a mi
get
sistema,
tired.
Espero poder
And
ofrecerle
I
las nuevas
hope to be able
experiencias
to
de
offer
noticias. Lo traje
a
por
new
aquí
experience
a
of
este video
of
que
news.
aparece en
This
la
was
aplicación
a video
YouTube.
that
Es
is
una
called the
actividad que hasta
Objective.
el
You can see it on
momento
YouTube.
vienen presentando
Well, this
seres
is
humanos,
an
pero
option.
es
Up
sustituido
until now, it's
por
been done by
robots.
human
Al
beings,
menos
but
eso es lo que
now,
se prevé.
as
En
we
las
saw,
fábricas
we're
veíamos
being
línea
replaced
de
by
producción,
robots.
Miguel,
In
con brazos
companies, we
mecánicos
see that
que
there's
se
lines of
encargaban de ensamblar
production where there are
prácticamente todo el
electronic
auto.
arms where you
Entonces,
assemble
¿en qué
cars.
medida sería
So, to
cierto
what
eso de
degree
que
is it
el ser
true
humano
that the
no
human
es
being
totalmente
is not
insustituible?
necessary?
No hay un capitalismo noble
Well,
ni humano.
there
Todas
is
las acciones
capitalism
que
is not noble
los
nor
grupos
humane.
económicos toman
Wherever
a
there
partir
is an
del
economic group and they make
apoderamiento, de la
decisions
geofinanciarización
and
mundial,
based
van en
on
contra
on
del ser
economic
humano.
perspectives,
Buscan
they
a
always
través de la
seek
tecnología y de la
to use
ciencia poder
technology
controlar
and to be able to control
todos los recursos.
all of
Y
the
esos recursos
resources. And
parte
those
ese control
resources
por
and this
apartar
control,
al ser humano.
what they want to
Indudablemente
do
que
is
la
to
mano de obra
to
para muchas
isolate the
actividades
man
va a
and
ser muy
being
importante,
part of the
va a ser
process.
esencial.
pero no hay ningún avance en fortalecer y en ayudar a esa mano
And
de
what we
obra, la
see
cual en mi
is that
criterio cada vez
the
es más
workers'
escasa,
condition
es más
will not be
ausente en
improved.
muchas necesidades. Por
And
supuesto que
and little by
hay
little,
muchos
we will
elementos
need
dentro de
less
nuestra sociedad
workers.
donde el ser
Of
humano
course, there
puede
are still
emplear su
there are
mano
still
de obra, la cual es muy
workspace where
necesaria, pero
humans
la
are needed,
maximización, el
but
control de las
the
tecnologías
control of the
aparta
technology
lo que
will
son los beneficios
isolate
sociales para el
the
trabajador. En eso
the
que tú
social
presentas
benefits
allí,
for the
Rey,
workers.
de
What you see here
presentador, de
of
todo
this
esos brazos
presenter, of this
mecánicos,
anchor,
allí no
of
hay
the
prestaciones sociales,
here we
allí no
have
hay
no social
jubilación,
benefits.
allí no hay bonos,
There are
allí
no
no hay ayudas, allí
bonuses,
no hay
there's no
casa para esos
retirements,
trabajadores.
they don't need a
Simplemente lo que son
home,
una
they don't need a
máquina,
house, they're just a
sustitución
machine.
de un cable o
So you
cualquier
just have to
hidráulico
substitute
para que ellos sigan
a cable
trabajando.
or a
Entonces eso nos
mechanism.
lleva a una
So this
sociedad
takes us to a
mecanizada,
society that is totally
mentalmente
mechanized.
mecanizada. Y el avance de la
And the
sociedad
advance
en
of
ciencias, en
society
artes,
in
en
science, in
cultura, en
arts, in
música,
culture, in
en
music,
teatro, en
in
poesía,
theater, in
no es otra
poetry
cosa. Y eso
is
viene desde
is
hace
something
siglos
else.
funcionando de esa manera. Y justamente hace siglos
And
se pensó
just
que para
centuries
este
ago, we thought
momento
that
el
by
ser humano
now,
estuviera
human beings
humano
would be
estuviese
enjoying,
adquiriendo producto de sus posibilidades el disfrute de
would
una
be
vida
enjoying
social,
a
de una mente
fulfilled life,
social.
a
Por
social
supuesto,
life that
la
would be
mano de
fulfilling.
obra, porque parte de la función nuestra, parte de alimentarnos,
And of course,
descansar,
part of our needs,
amarnos,
that is to
está
love
en la
each other, to feed
obtención
each
de
other.
un
It is,
digno mecanismo
it goes through having
campo de trabajo.
having a dignified work. But now
Hay
this
una
might be
desvalorización
substituted.
de la moral humana.
And what it's going to do is going to do away with the human morale.
Como viene siendo manejado, le está haciendo mucho daño
And
a
this
la
is going to
humanidad,
damage
porque hay una
humanity because
exageración
there is an
de
exaggeration
utilización de los
of the
mismos
use
métodos
of
y
the
de los avances
methods
tecnológicos.
and the technological
Quedaría
advances.
colgado entonces, antes de plantear la siguiente pausa.
So before we go to our next pause,
y Miguel Jaimes, ¿dónde quedaría
here's the question: where would the world lead if we lay in the hands of technology?
se comete un error tecnológico?
And what happens if there's a technological mistake and there is no human hand to correct this mistake?
Para erradicarlo. Vamos a la pausa.
Let's go to our pause. Please remember that you
nosotros
can
a través de
participate
nuestra
with
jugada
us
estratégica
through our
está planteada de la
strategic
siguiente
move
manera.
that is on our
La cuarta
Twitter.
revolución
It says the
industrial
fourth
implica
industrial
la
revolution
progresiva
implies the
sustitución de fuerza
internalization
laboral
and
física
progressive
por las
substitution
tecnologías
of the
del
labor
ciberespacio.
by the
Tengamos
technologies
bien claro
of
si se aplica esta
cyberspace. Who
filosofía
wins and
a
who
espaldas
loses
de
if
la
this
ética.
philosophy is
Miguel se
applied
refería a la
beyond
moral,
any type of
moral y ética, ¿no? Una
ethics?
dupla ahí interesante. A la pausa regresamos.
Let's go to our pause. We'll be right back.
¿Qué impacto tendría
What
la
will
cuarta
the
revolución
impact of the
industrial
fourth
en la
technological
población
revolution
mundial?
have
Ya se han
on the
venido
world
adelantando a
population?
este tema. ¿Cómo se
We have been
manifestaría
seeing
tanto en
some
países
perspectives
desarrollados
of this.
como
What
en
will
los que están
happen
en vías de desarrollo?
both on
Revisemos.
developed countries as well as those in terms of development. The fourth technological development is a concept based on robotics called the Internet of Things, and this is the interconnection of things and the connection of the world economies. It's expected that the major changes will be in the workforce. According to some perspectives, 5 million places of work will be lost in 15 industrialized countries in the upcoming years due to the mechanism of the work. There will be higher unemployment that is related to the less professional handwork. It is also foreseen that there will be flexibilization of the workplace and the loss of workers' rights. The type of economy will have a high technological element. Apparently, there are some already. For example, the expansion of internet in the transmission of information. The big data has allowed companies and governments to use this information to enrich themselves or control society. And at last, there's the incapacity of the less developed countries to be able to compete with the 4.0 technology countries.
Seguimos entonces con el
Let's
análisis.
continue
Iván
with our
Boscovich,
analysis.
economista,
Let's see
profesor de
with
la Universidad de
Iván
Valparaíso, director del
Boscovich
Instituto de las
from
Empresas en el
Chile. He
Norte
was
También
joining
desde
us
Venezuela nos
through
acompaña por la
phone,
línea
and from
telefónica
Venezuela
Miguel Jaimes,
we
doctor en
have
ciencias
Miguel
gerenciales,
Jaimes. He's
experto
an
en
expert in
geopolítica. Y el análisis de
geopolitics.
ahora en
And
más lo
the
vamos a hacer
today's
justamente sobre
analysis
esa base
we're going to
geopolítica.
we're going to speak
Iván,
about
si me
geopolitics.
permite,
Ivan,
una de las varias
one of
críticas que se
the
han
many
suscitado en
critiques
torno a la cuarta
about the
revolución
fourth
industrial
technological
tiene que ver con
revolution
su
is
carácter,
regarding
vamos a decir, de desprecio, ¿no?
regarding the
hacia una
despise
parte de la población
towards part
mundial.
of the world population.
Resultará
This means that
vencedor
only
quien logre adaptarse
the
y
winner will
quien
only be
mejor
those who is
preparado
able
esté
to adapt
para vivir
and who is
dentro
better
de la cuarta
prepared
revolución industrial.
to
La
live in
pregunta
the
es,
fourth
¿qué
technological
pasa con el resto
revolution.
de la
And the
población?
question is, what happens with the rest of society?
Miren, es evidente que los que estén
Well, it's obvious that
en las líneas de trabajo del control
and those who are in the lines of the work of these automatized work are gonna have an intensive work, but
de más fácil aprehensión o comprensión, pero que va a exigir una gran preparación.
they're going to be demanding. It's going to be more demanding to be able to manage these mechanisms. Not everybody's going to be able to operate these machines. But the second, and that you're thinking about, is that what happens to those who are not in the intellectual work of the control of this machinery. But for example, those who are constructing these machines, those who give maintenance to these equipments. And it's obvious that we're also going to require much of this, and we're also going to need
de una remuneración de acuerdo al trabajo.
They're also going to need the salary that is due to what the work they do. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a risk that every person be replaced by a robot. I think that this may exceed a little bit reality, and it has to do more with science fiction, and it's not going to be 100% possible.
Usted seguramente, Iván, leyó
Well,
20.000 leguas de viaje submarino, ¿cierto? De Jules Verne.
Ivan, you probably wrote 1,000 leagues of submarine
muy común.
of Jules Verne. Well, back then it was not possible, but now you see that happens.
Y sobre la base de algo que estábamos analizando con
Let's go back to another guest. It's this part of despise to a part of society that, according to the principles of the fourth technological revolution, might imply a major technologization, and therefore it has to do with something that we hear, which is that has to do with the progressive loss of the relationship between people, because technology might replace it. I want to ask myself also how this might impact the work relations. But there's a segment of society that we must also bear in mind, which is the senior citizens. And they will not have a relationship with this technology, but they will keep on living in this society where all of these technologies will substitute little by little the interaction with other human beings. What is going to happen with this segment and their interaction and their non-adaptation to this technology?
No hay una masificación ni una socialización.
Well, there is no socialization there.
Tecnológico. Hay sociedades completamente
there are societies that are totally busy in trying to obtain important benefits, but they're never destined to give back to society. For example, Africa, 54 countries. And in terms of how has their life expectancy improved, and what is the risk that has improved to those populations that obtain the main resources that are raw materials that are needed for these big companies, but they don't give back to their own society. All of these people that live in these 54 countries are one of the most significant populations. The technology has isolated the possibilities of development, and everything because this socialization of technology that does not exist. And on the contrary, the development is concentrated on few companies, and these are controlled by the economic sectors that before used to exploit us with the steam vapor companies, and now they control us with the technological control. You just mentioned something very important, Miguel, that has to do with those societies where the influx of internet is not as present as in other societies. What will happen with these societies? Well, they have very slim possibilities now. They have little benefits, and of course they have lots of difficulties. Let's not fool ourselves. The technology has not spread enough, and the capitalism really doesn't care. And on the contrary, what they're trying to do is to have some technological advances that are in the hands of a few. It's the same corporations, the same families, ever since the other revolutions, but just with new generations. But they've always had all of the development in their hands. And we can say that society is in their hands because the advance of the medicine, who does it benefit? Does it benefit the poor? No, it benefits the rich. It doesn't benefit those African people who are infected by AIDS or Ebola. No, the only ones who benefit are the big stockholders. Ivan, based on what Miguel has just explained, this line of thought could throw away another one that says that capitalism is in its final phase. Miguel Jaime says that it's the same families that ever since the first revolution have been adapting to new scenarios to keep on imposing themselves as the same wealthy, powerful families of the world. Does it mean that capitalism will not die, but it just transforms itself? Well, that's precisely it. Capitalism is reforming, it's adapting to the times, because just like the professor said, it's not the same. The capitalism in Africa, that the capitalism in the Southeast Asia or in Europe. So it's elements that are different, and we must analyze case by case. But what makes them the same, and that there are people who work for other people, and those people who work are those who produce the major benefits, the major products, all of those differences that are created by those who are the owners of the machines. And this makes that we have different stories, be this in Africa or in other places. I think that what's coming is going to make even different. It's going to make the gaps even larger. The gap will be larger between the most developed countries and the others.
del desarrollo capitalista
the development will grow even faster. And countries like in Latin America or in Africa will be in hard times because they will have to compete without having that technical basis that the other countries will have. This will be that on a global level it will have repercussions. Thank you, Ivan. And Miguel, just to close up, and having seen this sad scenario that is disguised with this technological improvement, I ask you, what is the responsibility of the countries to avoid bringing humanity to an end? Well, I think it's to stop the development of wars, of weapons, to have more attention to kids, to senior citizens, to improve social security, the coverage, the health coverage in medicine, in medical treatments, to catastrophic illnesses. This can make us go to a society that is respectful, to a more humane society where we can have values that are totally different than the current capitalist society has imposed in recent years, and the results are at our plain sight. They have caused huge damage to all of the population, and this cannot keep on. We cannot keep on having kids with such desperate futures. And this is just because the human development is dead, and it only gives way to technological advance. This has to come to an end, and we have to go to a more humane, transparent society where the central point of the society should be the human being. Thank you very much, Miguel, for this reflection. I also want to thank Professor Ivan for your time to Jugada Criticada. Today we are analyzing this topic. Let's go to conclusions. Several questions. What to do with the economic population if we have to open the door to replace their work with robots? A big task ahead is in the governments, where the companies might not have all of the ethics that is needed. The call is that everybody reads between the line this marketing campaign that is now trying to be sold to the common worker, this philosophy of success, but a success based on losing their workplace and losing their rights. This is all for today. See you tomorrow.